Welcome to the Horse Talk Show.
You never heard of a talking horse?
With your host, Louisa Barton.
I want to be a famous rider. I should like to race.
Presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital.
Truth is, I help horses with people problems.
Now here's the Brit on the bit, Louisa Barton. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
The Larson family has been farming hay in Idaho for generations with a mission to always provide high-quality hay products at a fair and reasonable price. Larson Hay loves to meet new customers while always honoring the ones they already have. Find Larson Hay on the web at larsonhay.com, like them on Facebook, and definitely visit one of their locations. Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and our television broadcast sponsor. Thank you for joining us on the Horse Talk Show this week, presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Hay, our broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. So, if I look like a floating head, it's because I am this week. Because although I remind my guests not to wear green so they don't float, today my day job at the CEP, where our studios is located, was dress up as your favorite Christmas character. So I'm an elf, and that's green. So I'm actually very glad that I had delivered this week from my dear friend Gail Rice, breeder of Medina Spirit, my jacket that I ordered when Medina was still with us. And now I'm even more glad and happier that I ordered it because it's even more special. And Gigi's arrived as well, so we'll have to take a photo together in matching jackets. So I'm going to put this jacket on because my elf costume is see-through. So I'm a floating head, which is a little odd on the telly. First of all, I want to explain a few things other than my attire, or what looks like lack of attire. This is my present from Gigi and Matt this year, and it's a Twinings London Tea Merchants, established in 1706. Can you believe it? And what a lovely gift. I mean, it's lovely to get like wine and chocolates and all those things, and we all love them, and coquito, of course. But how nice to have something so different and special. And Gigi is so special, and so is Matt. So I want to thank them both. And there's even some Earl Grey tea in the part that opens. So I really love this. I think it's really beautiful and put a lot of thought into it. So I want to thank them. And also have an announcement. And that is that Gigi, the director of my show, who's been with me for just over a year, who is co-founder of Equiceptional Media with me, is now also an owner of the Horse Talk Show officially as of Christmas this year. So congratulations, Gigi. It may not be like something that's going to make you a millionaire right now, but who knows? And it's certainly nice to know that she is my business partner, not just in one, but in both. So so welcome aboard, Gigi, and I'll tell you a Christmas tree story that's really funny later. We've got a good lineup on the show, I think, today. We have some pre-recorded segments because sometimes we're out on location and it's so much more real when we're there, even though we love to bring people to you in the studio live. I think it's really, really special when we get a chance to go out and be around the likes of Nick Meric and Kimie Carp, for example. Kimie Carp is the owner of Horse Country Carriage and Tours, and of course she's the one who takes those amazing carriage rides around downtown during the Christmas and New Year's season, and also takes the wonderful farm tours out from the very, very beautiful Kimberden Farm in northwest Ocala. So I love Kimie Carp. I think she's so special, and we love to share kind of her story and what she does with you. Nick Meric, of course, trains some of the top horses in the country every year that get out there on the racetrack and win in the stakes races. And Corniche, who won the juvenile this year, was trained by Nick and Jackie Meric, and also the winner of the Breeders' Cup Classic, who is the Longines highest point earner in the racing world, Nick Sco, of course, who won the Breeders' Cup Classic, and trained both of those horses. So they had amazing victories in the Breeders' Cup races this year, and we'll be definitely watching Corniche into the Derby season. It's such a promising horse. So Nick's going to share with us. I may say at the end of this pre-recorded segment, we'll be right back with Nick Meric, but we really won't be this week. You'll have to tune in next week to hear the second one of Nick Meric, because we wanted to run Kimie Carps while she is doing the tours through the Christmas and New Year's. So when you hear me say coming right back with Nick Meric, and I'm not, don't be surprised. That'll be next week. And next week's show is going to be very special too. We're going to do something we've never done before. We are going to have dinner served in a larger table. We're going to invite some special people in. Florence and the Travelers is going to serve us up a beautiful meal. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You have to wait and see. And we're going to do all this on air while we have live call-ins. So if you would like to call in, the number is 352-304-1408. And you can call us next week live during the show. And there's the number up on the screen for you if you're watching either on Facebook or television. And you can give us a call. And what we're looking for is share something with us that you saw or heard on the show that you really liked or didn't like. You can be honest. You can give us a great horse story, one of your horses. You can also tell us a funny joke. You can actually play a terrible prank on us if you really want to. But we certainly would like you to call in and just share with us some thoughts as we close out the year with the final show of the year. We'll hopefully have some funny bloopers and clips and things ready for you too. And we hope you just really enjoy what we have to share and what you have to share, your chance to speak on the Horse Talk Show. Or if you want to endorse one of our many great sponsors that are now local, national, and international, please do. Please call in and share your experience. We'd love to hear it, and we'd love your feedback on the show. So we're definitely looking forward to hearing from you, and we want to make sure you do remember to call in. So I don't have a whole lot of horse news this week because, believe it or not, there's not a whole lot going on except Christmas. But think about something that I let get away from me this week, and that is how much wonderful downtime you can have with your family, whether that's two-legged or four-legged. Think about how much relaxing, fill a stocking for the horse, spend some time not stressing about cooking and running around and shopping and wrapping. And I am preaching to the choir, I'm sure, but I just think it's a special time of year. This year's been very hard for some people, for many people, been through a lot this year, and I feel like now we refocus, we try to start 2022 on the right note. And on that, I want to celebrate with you on the selling of the Equine Initiative tree at our studios here at the Chamber and Economic Partnership. And they are one of our sponsors and very supportive of us. And we decorate an equine tree every year, and we try to be the sale topper. Last year we were the sale topper again at $850, and this year we were the sale topper again at $2,050 that we raised for hospice care. So Raymond Di Maria and Alan Davies bidding against one another up to the very end there at $2,050, and $2,050 is amazing. Altogether, the 41 trees raised over $9,000 for hospice care. So that was a great night. Quick mentions for some events that are coming up very, very soon. If you're watching on the television or on Facebook, you'll be able to see the posters for these. And the first one that I want to mention is air show jumping. Air show jumping is coming up in January at the Florida Horse Park. We do love the Florida Horse Park. We work very closely with their team, Jason Reynolds, Kim Vanderwalt, and a number of other staff members there who are absolutely wonderful. And we love to promote the horse park, 500 acres of beautiful outdoors and fresh air. And air show jumping is a wonderful boutique show. It's so well run by Bill Worthington and his team. And that runs January 5th to the 9th and January 12th to the 16th. Those are the rated weeks that HITS does not have rated shows. So this show is permitted to run. And again, the Florida Horse Park air show jumping. So we hope you enjoy that event. And then also coming up, Best of America by Horseback, the most popular trail riding show on television that's been on RFD TV for 15 years successfully. They travel all over the US, visiting the best places to ride your horse on the trails. Del Shields, who is a singer and a poet and a good friend to us and the show, is going to be here at the Florida Greenways, going to have 2 rides. There's going to be a camp out on the Friday night around the fire, and we are looking for some sponsors there. And then Saturday is the Cowboy Ball. So we hope you'll join us, and the number's on the poster there and on social media. Wrapping it up, coming right back with Hall of Famer Steve Haskin. Stay with us.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference.
With over 70 years of collective experience in the horse industry, Lip Chip was built with integrity by horsemen for horsemen. Introducing the Chip Link system, powered by Lip Chip, where a 15-digit unique ID becomes a key to unlock not only identity, but also health paperwork, owner information, and even photos of each horse. So simple, even a child can do it. The future is here. The future is Lip Chip.
Enhance your horse's performance, fitness, strength, and rehabilitation with state-of-the-art equipment. ETI treadmills offer the finest European engineering, the highest quality filtration, and no chemicals are required. Follow Equine Therapy International on social media or at equinetherapyint.com. Equine Therapy International provides technologically advanced therapy for horses worldwide.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. I'm Louisa Barton. I have my favourite guest on the phone, not in person, sadly, one day, and that's Hall of Famer Steve Haskin, who writes for Secretariat.com, and I've been reading all of his goodies this week, and I love them all. And then it makes them pop into my head, and then I text him, how are you? And I think he hopes it's just how are you, but it's usually how are you, and please will you talk to us about racehorses?
It's a facade.
I do.
But I accept it.
Yes, and
the only thing is I didn't quite get all of the introduction. Can you repeat it all?
The best, most favourite, most handsome guest that I ever have on the show, Hall of Famer.
That was
Steve
even better
Haskin.
than the first one.
I know it was, wasn't it? If you have not read any of Steve's writing, you're missing out incredibly, because he really is in the Hall of Fame for a reason, and that's because he's brilliant. As we say in England, he's absolutely brill. And I love the way that he always makes the facts turn into a story rather than just be the facts. And I love that, and I always enjoy it. And this year has been a strange year. I think I may have said that before, but this might have been the strangest, perhaps. And, of course, very saddened recently by the loss of champion Medina Spirit, who was just an incredible horse. And he'll certainly be missed, very sadly missed. And I know the reaction from the racing world and the entire world is what a great Cinderella story that was, and what a great horse he was indeed. And I'm just so glad that we got to be part of his go on his ride and be part of his race career and his life, because he was certainly very special. So that's made this certainly a sad year. He ran an incredible race in the Breeders' Cup Classic. No shame to run second to Nick Sco, of course, who's incredible himself. What are your thoughts on that, Steve? I know it's been a very sad time for everybody connected there.
It was very shocking, and it came right after I wrote an entire column about him too. So It made it even more shocking. He's just a horse that you just have to feel badly for. And I don't mean the dying, obviously, but even before that, he just never got the respect that he deserved. I mean, people are always knocking everything. Even in the Awesome Again, people completely overlooked that race. They said, "Oh, he beat nothing in there. They were garbage older horses." Number one, they were older horses.
Right.
Number two, there were two Grade 1 winners in that race. You had the San Diego Handicap winner and the Pacific Classic winner.
Right.
The two biggest races for older horses in California. So no matter what you think of the older horses, he beat them, and he beat them handily. And he beat them in the way he never won before. To win off by 5 lengths to beat those horses.
I know.
So he never got any respect for that at all. He didn't even get a lot of respect for finishing second to Nick Sco. I thought he ran a terrific race there. He wasn't given the best of rides. He was just too far off the pace. He wasn't going to win that way. That's not his style of winning. But you look at the year he had, and the worst part is that he got embroiled in all of the Bob Baffert, the Kentucky Derby disqualification, which is one of the reasons, and it's sad too, by the way, that he was not a finalist for the Vox Populi Award. And it had to do with that too, because Churchill Downs and the Kentucky Commission, are going to take forever to make a decision. Is he the winner of the Derby, or is he not the winner of the Derby?
Right.
He comes up positive, and I guess it doesn't look good to have the country's most popular horse disqualified in the Kentucky Derby.
Right.
It's just a bad look. And, a lot of the voting members, myself included, you just don't know what to do with him. I mean, you wanted to put him in there, so
of course
you give the fans a chance to ride him in if they want to. So they can. They don't have to go by the finalists, but it just would not be a good look,
I know. Well, I think some of that has been that horse racing has been so under the microscope anyway, which, in my opinion, it's under the microscope far more than any other horse sport. Yet we see other, fatalities, accidents, other things happen in all sports, 2-legged or 4-legged. We see, things happen. It's life. It's very sad and we hate it. We hate to hear about it in any sport, but racing definitely gets the hits harder than any other sport. And yet we see horses who love to run. If horses lose their rider, they keep running, and it's not because they hate running. They love to run, and they love to run against each other, and they're very competitive, and the intelligent ones know when they win. So
that's what they were born to do.
Exactly. And so, do I think that change needs to come in some areas? Absolutely, I agree. And it's always about the welfare of the horses and their jockeys, for sure. But I think that the fact that it's been put so under the microscope so much and has been so heavily criticized, I think we see, a worse side of it that in most cases doesn't exist. I've been behind the scenes, so have you. The people behind so many of these horses are absolutely wonderful people, and I've met them and know them, and they're phenomenal. And they do everything they can to take care of these horses, the best way they can. And I just hate that, a couple of days before Medina Spirit passed away, he was vindicated, and they actually proven in a lab that, it was from an ointment and not from an injection, which, regardless of Kentucky's decision, definitely cleared his name as the best horse in the Kentucky Derby. And Johnny V ran past Gail Rice, my friend, the breeder, and I at the Breeders' Cup, and said he had a slow start out of the gate. So had he not had a slow start out of the gate, which had never happened with Johnny V before with him, he may have been right on the back of Nick's go.
I shouldn't have said a bad ride. He had a bad trip. Let's put it that way.
He did.
It's not because I know Bob Baffert wanted him up there.
Yes, he did. That's his style.
The fact that it was. Yeah, but I mean the fact that he would, the fact that they did say that it was the ointment. A lot of people don't even care.
No.
They look at Baffert as a cheater. They probably look at Baffert more as a cheater than they do Jorge Navarro, who is a cheater and is going to probably go to jail. But Baffert, gets all this vilification by everybody. Right. I mean, he's become a pariah. He went from a rock star,
right?
And we're talking about an ointment here. So the fact is that Medina Spirit, everybody knows that he won the Derby on his own. He was not aided in any way by this little dab of ointment or what they put on for a skin rash. And he's always going to be known if they do take him down. Oh, he was drugged. He was doped. It's just very annoying the way people want to think.
Yes. Well, and I think some of that is in a world where horse racing is under the microscope. I think that Bob Baffert would probably be the number one pick for somebody to make an example of, because it doesn't get much bigger than his name in the horse world, having won the first 2 Triple Crowns, the first one for 37 years and then another one a few years later. It kind of makes you say...
And 2 more Kentucky Derbies.
Exactly, right.
People don't like anybody getting too successful.
No.
They'll put you up on a pedestal, but if you stay there too long and do too much and become too dominant, then they want to tear you down.
Yes. We've just got 1 minute in this segment, but I'm going to keep Steve with me because I've got a few more questions. I definitely want to talk about the Vox Populi with him and a couple of other things, like maybe talk Derby to me in the next segment, because I love that. So stay with us on the Horse Talk Show. I'll be right back with the Brill Hall of Famer in just a minute. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Peterson & Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, and Larson Hay, our broadcast and television sponsor, plus supporting sponsors, DAC Vitamins and Minerals, Seminole Feed Stores, Piranha, TT Distributors, and the Hilton Garden Inn, downtown Louisville.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at SeminoleFeed.com.
horses. Piranha! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! Oh, piranha.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. I'm Louisa Barton in the studio talking to Hall of Fame turf writer from Secretariat.com, Steve Haskin. Steve, we've been chatting a bit about some of the Derby happenings this year, the loss of Medina Spirit, very, very sad time in racing to see such a great young champion lose his life. And of course, there's a necropsy, which hopefully we'll have some results for in a couple of months, but most likely they say an aortic rupture, which does happen sometimes, very sadly. But moving past that, not really knowing what's going to happen with that Derby result, we're coming up here in the end of the year very rapidly, and kind of your thoughts on the wrap-up of this year and Nick's go. Of course, I think he's going to run maybe in the Pegasus and then be retired. A great horse, certainly. Started here in Ocala with the Merics, as did Corniche, who is looking to be very popular for the Kentucky Derby coming up in 2022.
Well, I mean, Nick's go obviously is a lock now for Horse of the Year, and you got to give Brad Cox a lot of credit. You know, when he got the horse, the horse had problems, which they don't really want to make public. But the horse did have physical problems. People think that, what did he do to that horse? He was so bad as a 3-year-old, after being so good as a 2-year-old. And then he comes up as a 4-year-old and then knocks him dead, and as a 5-year-old. And, he's going to be a big favorite, obviously, in the Pegasus. And if Life is Good runs, I mean, it's going to be a tremendous race for sure.
Absolutely.
But, I think we're going to be in for a really top year. Mystic Guide, I see, is back. Who won the Dubai World Cup last year. Windstar gave Country Grammar back to Bob Baffert, so it'll be interesting to see him back in California. And then we have our Vox Populi winner coming back, going to Dubai for a couple of races. Hot Rod Charlie, who was voted the most popular horse in the country, and rightly so.
Well, it's interesting. I was reading your write-ups about that, and you mentioned Penny Chenery creating this, not to be like an Eclipse Award, not to be like necessarily the top horse of the year, although sometimes that has happened, but not necessarily the most winningest horse or one that's got the most accolades, but more one that has reached the people's hearts and emotions, and maybe even brought people back to an interest in racing. And Hot Rod Charlie's had a very interesting career. I don't think he's ever been worse than 4th. And I think he's raced all over the country in different tracks, and has had a little bit of a hard luck story in some respects, but has shown himself to be a very consistent, tough horse. So I think it fits.
Well, you talk about his 4th. The one race he finished 4th was in his last race. This was following a year where he put on 25,000 miles of traveling. From November 6, 2020 to November 6, 2021, he ran in 8 races at 8 different racetracks in 6 different states, and again, never finished worse than 4th, excluding obviously his disqualification.
Right.
And he made 10 cross-country flights, ran in 6 Grade 1 stakes.
Wow.
And like you said about Eclipse Awards, thank goodness that they did vote for him, because the last 2 Vox Populi Awards winners were both Horses of the Year.
Yeah.
You had Bricks and Mortar, who, I don't know how popular he really was. I don't think there was really much to choose from that year. And last year you had Authentic, where you had the MyRacehorse.com, thousands of people from My Racehorse that really filled the ballot box pretty good, voting for him.
Right.
So, you could have voted for a horse like Whitmore, but I think Hot Rod Charlie, I think even people who didn't vote for him had to be happy for him.
Right.
You know, he was versatile. He was courageous. He was tough. He was resilient. He won a place at 7 different distances, from 5 furlongs on the grass to 1.5 miles on the dirt. And you could put him anywhere on the racetrack. If you look at his half-mile calls in his races, he was 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 7th. And he was in the money in all of them. And even, you know, again, he was such a hard luck horse that you look at his defeats, and I think they actually enhanced his popularity.
Yeah.
If you look at his Belmont Stakes, I mean, he's going head and head on the lead through a half, and 46-2. We're talking about a 1.5 mile race. That's 1/5 of a second slower than Secretariat ran in the most iconic race in U.S. racing history.
That's fast.
And he wouldn't quit. He just barely, he got beat by Essential Quality, and they were 11 lengths ahead of the third horse. And the third horse was the horse that had just won the Preakness very impressively, Rombauer.
Right.
And even if you look with this crop too, it was the second fastest Belmont in the last 20 years. The only faster one was Triple Crown winner America Pharoah had run faster, and the Derby, where he was only beaten a length, was the second fastest Derby in the last 20 years. And the only Derby actually run faster was by Authentic the year before, and that was when the race was in September because of COVID.
Right. Yeah.
When the 3-year-olds were, far more advanced and experienced.
Right.
And then he finishes first in the Haskell, and he was 1/5 of a second off the stakes record and 2/5 off the track record set by Spenderbuck 36 years ago.
Wow.
So, he had the speed. He ran a 1:11 buyer in the Pennsylvania Derby, in the race before the Breeders' Cup. And that was the fastest non-sprint race by any 3-year-old in the country. Wow. One horse ran a 1:12 in a freakish performance going 6 furlongs. But legitimately, it was the fastest race, a buyer run by a 3-year-old all year. So he just had a tremendous year.
It's amazing, really. Yeah, he certainly has had an incredible year, and I think well deserved.
Definitely well deserved. And you have to remember too, by the way, he was the only horse, the first and only horse, to make a move at Nick's Go.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to tackle that horse. He's just too tough. And he made a move at him at the top of the stretch, and actually pulled alongside of him and almost eyeballed him. He just couldn't sustain it. But I think making that move while the others sat back probably cost him second or third.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. A sneak peek, Steve, into 2022 and the Kentucky Derby, and of course we're going to really start all eyes on those horses in January, certainly as we're watching prep races start and we start kind of eyeing up the horses. And I have to ask you about Corniche, because he ran such a lovely race in the juvenile, and certainly showing himself to be a phenomenal young horse, and kind of what your thoughts are there.
Well, if you want my thoughts as a horse or as a Derby horse, they're completely different, because right now he's not a Derby horse.
That's right.
Neither of any of Bob Baffert's got like 6 brilliant 2-year-olds, and if they keep him with him, and Churchill doesn't reverse that ruling, then they're all going to be left out of the Derby, which is very unfortunate. Corniche is obviously a very brilliant horse. I'm not sure how far he can carry his speed, if he's going to be a one-dimensional speed horse. His breeding is okay, but it's not great for 1.25 miles. So again, I don't know how far he can carry it. But trained by Bob Baffert, if Baffert gets him to the Derby, he's going to be toughened, and he's going to be... he's going to be out there by himself, because nobody ever goes after a Bob Baffert. They never challenge him. They always wind up on the lead.
That's a
by
fact.
Themselves. But he's very talented. But there's a lot of good horses this year.
Yeah.
Kenny McPeak has 3 of the best ones. Kenny McPeak is really loaded.
Yeah.
He's got a horse, Smile Happy, who won the Kentucky Jockey Club, who I was really impressed with. To come off a 6 furlong race, and to run the race he did, was, to me, remarkable.
Steve, hold that thought for me 1 second. We just have to take a really quick break. Do you mind coming back with us for a third one?
No, not at all.
Okay. Stay with us on the Horse Talk Show. We'll be right back with our Hall of Famer. Stay with us. World-class equine rehab promoting faster recovery is available at the Equine Performance Centre Ocala. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, an underwater treadmill, a saltwater spa, an aquapacer, MagnaWave, a vibration plate, swimming pool, massage and laser therapies. With post-surgical care, memberships, packages and BOGOs. EPC delivers a rejuvenated horse through proven and innovative rehab. Like Equine Performance Centre now on Facebook and find them on the web at epcrehab.com. Equestrians, it's time to take care of yourself as well as you do your horse. So get down to Pulse Centre of Ocala. The PEMF wave is safe and it's a therapy that charges your cells and allows them to function at their fullest capacity so you heal much faster. Check them out at pulsecenterfl.com now and tell them you heard about it on the Horse Talk Show for a free demo. The Larson family has been farming hay in Idaho for generations with a mission to always provide high-quality hay products at a fair and reasonable price. Larson Hay loves to meet new customers while always honouring the ones they already have. Find Larson Hay on the web at larsonhay.com, like them on Facebook, and definitely visit one of their locations. Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and our television broadcast sponsor.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show.
You never heard of a talking horse? Well, listen to this.
With your host, Louisa Barton.
What does it feel like to be in love with a horse?
Presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience.
Back in the saddle again.
Now, here's your pretty Louisa Barton.
You're fab, you're switched on, you're a bit of all right, yes. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. A couple of quick mentions. Christmas is upon us, and Nirvana has some wonderful specials for you. And coming up in January, they have a very special event. If you're feeling a little chubby after Christmas and New Year's celebrations, you can go to their True Body open house and ask the experts on January the 7th from noon to 4. Permanently eliminate 24% of fat, increase muscle mass, consult with their specialists, and possibly win some treatments or some discounts. Headed back to the show. Back on the third segment of the Horse Talk Show with Steve Haskin, and we've been chatting a little Derby, and I do so love it when our brilliant Hall of Famer talks Derby to me. And we talked a little bit about Corniche and some of Bob's horses, and of course we don't know what's going to happen there as far as those horses being perhaps moved to a different trainer, or if Churchill's going to back down on that decision with Bob not being able to run in the Kentucky Derby with any of his trainees. And then we were chatting, we started talking a little bit about Kenny McPeek, and he's got 3 very nice horses, and Kenny McPeek's been showing up a lot with some nice horses lately. So, Steve, take it away right there for us.
Well, you know, his 2 big horses, obviously, are Smile Happy, who won the Kentucky Jockey Club, and Rattle and Roll, who won the Breeders' Futurity. And it's funny because Smile Happy broke his maiden at Keeneland and then won a Grade 1 at Churchill Downs. Rattle and Roll broke his maiden at Churchill Downs and won a Grade 1 at Keeneland. But to have 2 different horses win both Grade 1 Kentucky races, and both won off by themselves very impressively. Both have tremendous pedigrees. Will definitely get a 1.25 miles. So between Smile Happy and Rattle and Roll, he's got two huge Derby contenders here. And he's got another one that he likes a lot, that he actually had entered in the Kentucky Jockey Club. But he came down with just a little problem or so when he had to scratch him. That was Tiz the Bomb, who was second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. But he's bred for the dirt. He's out of a Tiz now mare, and there's no reason why he shouldn't love the dirt. So Kenny McPeek's got 3 very, very strong horses. Todd Pletcher has already started, at Gulfstream. down your way. He's winning everything down there. He sent out a really impressive, two very impressive maiden winners. One who I would like a lot, named Emmanuel, who won it at a mile, first time out. I love when I see that, a horse to win first time out. And then one of the things I always look at is how these horses look. Do they have any flaws? And that's one of the reasons why I love Smile Happy. Rattling Road got a couple of issues that they had to work out, which he already has. But a horse like Emmanuel, I love a horse that just runs perfectly straight down the stretch. Even if a jock hits him, he doesn't duck in, he doesn't shy from the whip. He stays right on his path. He's got a big, beautiful, long stride. He's got the pedigree. He's got the looks. I like everything about Emmanuel. But again, you don't want to get too high on a first-time starter until they beat winners. But he's definitely a horse I'm looking at. But Todd's got a whole bunch of horses. He won the Remsen with Mo Donegal, although I love the second-place finisher in that race, who should have actually been put up on the qualification. The Irish Stewards blew it. But a horse called Zandon, who I fell in love with in his maiden win at 6 furlongs. And Chad Brown went from a 6 furlong maiden race to a 1.125 Remsen Grade 2 race, and he should have won it. I mean, he ran a tremendous race, and his horse is bred to run all day. So remember Zandon next year. He's going to be something. Pletcher also, like I said, has the horse that won the Remsen, Mo Donegal, who's a come-from-behind horse. And he's got Command Performance, who was my first sleeper horse that I wrote a whole column on, coming off a second in a maiden race. And he ran right back in the Champagne as a maiden, and he ran second in the Champagne to Jack Christopher. Then he came back and he had a very bad trip in the Breeders' Cup. He ran, and he still ran a good fourth, but he was right up there on the pace, and that's not his style. And I wasn't crazy about him going out there anyway. I'm not crazy about any of the Eastern horses going out to run at Del Mar.
Yeah.
But I think that's a very strong horse for Pletcher. The horse I ran second in the Breeders' Cup, Papa Cap, I think he's got a big future.
I love
another
Papa
grass
Cap.
horse who's going back on the dirt. McKinnon, that's another Doug O'Neill horse, and I think he's going to be interesting because he's also bred strictly for dirt, but all his races have been on grass, and he was third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. He had won several races. But there's a lot of really good horses. Just trying to sort them out now is going to be tough.
I know. Well, that'll be the next thing, won't it? We'll be sorting them out. And I have to say, Papa Cap, I got to meet him, and I love any horses trained by Mark Cassey, because I think Mark Cassey is a really, really good guy, and I think he really deserves a Derby win. And then, of course, Papa Cap is a Florida bred and Florida owned horse, so that kind of.
I picked him in that race too, and I had him in that race. So I had the exacta in that race, which was good. But I picked him on top. I thought he had a big chance in there. And the one other horse I'll mention is the horse that just won he's a California bred. He just won the Los Alamitos Futurity. Slow Down Andy, who's another Doug O'Neill horse, who looked very impressive while being green. He's run 3 times. He's been green in all 3 of his races. And he still managed to beat Bob Baffert's hot 2-year-old Messier in that race, despite doing so many things wrong in the race. So once he straightens himself out, and he's got a lot of ability. So I'm excited about this group of 2-year-olds. I think we're going to have some fun on the Derby Trail.
I think so too. And let's just hope we don't have any DQs or anything else,
please.
and we could just have a nice clear run at the Derby this year with no aftermath to experience. That would certainly be a wonderful thing to have happen. We'd like to have a winner be the winner, and not have to deal with all the after.
We've had 2 disqualifications in the Derby in the last 3 years, which is unbelievable.
We have, and I think it would be nice. Like I said, I'm all for the horse's safety, but I think we've got to find a way to do things better than finding an ointment in a horse and.
I shouldn't say 2 disqualifications. We've had 1 disqualification and 1 potential disqualification.
Right, exactly. And I think it's a shame for the sport, because I think it's such a wonderful sport. I think it's such a fun sport. I think that the horses love it, and I've been around so many great people involved in it. Even from the start of these horses when they're first under saddle all the way to the finish line in the big races, and I see so much good in it and so much excitement and so many people interested in returning to it. with the syndications and things that have become quite popular, we're seeing larger crowds of people interested in racing again. I love to just see people start lifting it up. It's a great fun sport, and the horses are just so well looked after, and it's just it's a shame.
I love when you see these so-called animal lovers who say we got to abolish racing, get rid of racing. Yeah, okay. Well, if you love animals so much, then you go ahead and find homes for the 100,000 horses. By the way,
right.
Between all the race horses and the stallions and the foals and the mares, go find homes for all of those and find jobs for the hundreds of thousands of people who spend their life taking care of these horses.
Exactly.
You before you wish for something, by the way, you got to think about it.
Yes, absolutely. And truly, I would love to take all of them behind the scenes to the barns that I've been to and show them, the toys and the bouncy balls and the huge bags full of some of the most wonderful, good quality hay and the thick bedding. And these horses have the life. Steve, with 2 minutes left in this segment, I want to say thank you so much for everything you've contributed to this show this year. And you're always a wealth of information. You always get us so on track, and we love it. And you can find Steve Haskin at secretariat.com. His writings, in my opinion, are the very, very best in horse racing. And he's my very favorite guest. And I'm so honored that he took the time to chat to us today.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I thank you for having me on. It's always a lot of fun to come on, talk about racing and talk derby and everything. And it's it's just great. And, I thank you, and I wish you and all your viewers and listeners, very happy holiday.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you, Steve. And we look forward to having you back on the show next year.
Sure, anytime.
Take care.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye. Steve Haskin, the best. We'll be back on the Horse Talk Show. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Palm Chevrolet, and our broadcast and television sponsor, Larson Hay, and also to our supporting sponsors, Equisafe, Nirvana Medical Spa, Showcase Properties of Central Florida, the Equine Performance and Innovative Center, and Summit Joint Performance. Nirvana, Ocala's premier medical spa, is leading the way in great skin with all the newest in treatment options, offering prejuvenation for younger clients and rejuvenation for all ages. Nirvana knows you want to look your very best, but we've all seen people with the telltale signs of too much work. We want you to look like you, just better, brighter and younger, with all the newest and best in technology and all in the most beautiful surroundings. Like Nirvana Medical Spa on Facebook and find them on the web at nirvanamedicalspa.com. Become a better, brighter and younger you.
This hour of the Horse Talk Show is presented by Palm Chevrolet in Ocala, where the entire team is committed to making your experience in sales and service hassle-free and easier than ever with no games or gimmicks. Come in and visit on Southwest College Road or online at palmchevrolet.com. A second-to-none experience with all the amenities. Palm Chevy, find new roads.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
I'm Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show, and we're here at Kimberden Farm in Ocala, the horse capital, visiting with Kimie Carp of Horse Country, Carriage and Tours. We're going to chat a little bit about her background and about tiny Prince Charming and what she does at Christmas time, which we think's awesome. Kimie, it's lovely to be back with you.
It's always a pleasure to see you, Louisa. Thank you for coming out today.
Oh, it's been absolutely beautiful. This is the most beautiful farm, and we've had a wonderful time here today. Share with us a little bit of your background in horses. You mentioned when we were out on the little carriage ride that you used to be a jumper.
I use that term very loosely. So when I was a kid, we probably got our first horses when I was around 7 and learned how to ride a little bit. And we're from Philadelphia originally, and you could actually still stable in the city then. And they had just this little rinky-dink barn, and we used to go. And we had a wonderful, wonderful Palomino that we all learned how to ride on. And actually, now that I think about it, his name was Sonny.
Aww,
and I know it was a good name. He was fantastic. And he taught us all how to ride. And then we'd go, the old old police stables had a little ring there, and they'd have this little show. And so we would go, and we'd go show Sonny, and we'd go show our little horses, and it was fun. But actually, thoroughbreds is really what brought us here. So we bred and raced on a very, very minor level. And we used to run Philly Park, Garden State, Atlantic City when they were still open. So now I'm aging myself. But the blizzard in '96 rolled through. We were in South Jersey, and 3 feet of snow later, we decided that Ocala was the place to be. So we've packed up and moved here just before my 15th birthday, and I've been here 23 years since. And this is honestly home, and you couldn't pay me enough to go back.
And how did you transition to carriage rides, farm tours, downtown at Christmas? How did that all happen?
So right before we moved down here, I actually, somehow through our family, we had befriended the woman who owned a carriage company in Cape May, New Jersey. And I would go over in the summer, and very graciously, she would let me stay with her. And she taught me how to harness horses, and she taught me how to drive single horses. And at night, I'd go downtown and I'd help at the carriage stop and whatnot. And I really just fell in love with the draft horses. And her name was Beverly, and she actually has since retired, and she's here in Ocala. And you want to talk about full circle, a couple years ago, she actually drove for me on Christmas Eve one night. So that was really special.
And who taught you to drive?
Bev, she was the one who first put the lines in my hands. After we moved down here to Ocala, though, my dad one night saw a lady show up with a team of horses and a carriage on the downtown square, and he thought, oh my God, this is perfect for Kimie. So her name was Mary, and she had Ocala Carriage. And I started with her when I was 15 until I was 19. I left. I had a stint in property management. And then I got tired of the stress and the craziness of all that. And I thought, I just want my old job back around horses and where people are actually happy to see me. So I went back to work for her for several years, but she's the one that taught me how to drive a team of horses. So, and taught me a lot more and more of the business side. And we got to do a lot of really wonderful things together before she passed away.
So 9 years with Tiny Prince Charming, who did such a phenomenal job giving us all a carriage ride today. To do this interview, you pulled this carriage right out of the barn like it weighed nothing, and it weighs over 1,100 pounds. So a lot of people say, oh my gosh, that horse must not like pulling that cart, and you are a fraction of the size of Tiny Prince Charming, who weighs how much?
He's over 2,000 pounds.
So you're a fraction of his weight, and you pulled this out very, very easily all on your own. So that really shows that it is not a terrible job pulling this cart.
No, it is not. And, the thing about it is that this actually is what keeps him fit and healthy. And we don't overwork him either. It's not like we're out here for 8 or 10 hours a day. He works 3-4 hours max if we're at a festival or something, and we pay attention to them. They let us know, even when we're in downtown Ocala for the holiday season, we advertise that we're out from 6 to 9. And when 9 o'clock rolls around, if the crowd is good and the horses are in good spirits and they're happy, then we might stay a little bit longer. There's other nights though, 9 o'clock rolls around and he's done, and I know that, and I read that. And so we always put the horses first, and the thing about what we do, and really in any horse discipline, if your horse doesn't enjoy its job, you're not going to be successful at it. And, Prince loves what he does. He especially loves all the mints and the people and all the extra treats. But you can see it in his cadence as he walks around, the way he holds himself and in his eye. He loves what he does, and he's the man about town.
He seemed super happy today, that's for sure. Even on the third trip, he was game to go again. So from the farm here, from Kimberden in Ocala, you take out farm tours 6 days a week and then have off on Sunday. And you can book the farm tours, and you kind of entertaining. I call it edutainment because it's funny and fun. But you also share a lot of history about the horse industry and the farms here. And this is the perfect venue or farm to leave from. So that's wonderful. And everybody loves those. Everyone who's ever taken one of those farm tours with you comes back happier and more educated. And then at Christmas time, Christmas and New Year's, you do something wonderful downtown.
Yes, so Thanksgiving weekend, we start in downtown Ocala, and we are out most nights through New Year's Eve. And we have a couple different options. We have with the white fancy carriage, as I like to call it. We do a private tour for just however many people are in your party, and we do either 15 minutes around the downtown square area, or we go a half hour and we go out into the historic district to see the houses with their lights, which is really special. And there is a little light historical narration on that, but nothing too over the top. And then on the weekends, we also bring this wagon downtown, and I put Libby and Luther, my team, on it, and they do a group wagon ride. And so that's just first come, first serve, walk up. So if you don't have a reservation, or you don't really care if you're on a private tour, and look, some people are on a budget, so it's an inexpensive way to be able to just hop on and take a 10-minute trip around and get to see the lights. So I tell people we've got something for everybody.
That's wonderful. Now, how do people, if they want to book private or obviously book to come to Kimberden and take out the farm tour, how is the best way for people to do that?
Just contact me. Our schedules vary and are so crazy, so I don't like to do online booking and all of those things. I tell people just simply call me. This time of year, if we're doing our carriage rides in town, then I tell people text me, because that's the best way to catch me, because I'm day and night and sorting out my schedule. But just give us a call.
Wonderful. And the number for that?
352-727-0900.
Perfect. And when people come here to take the farm tour, are they, if they haven't been to Kimberden before, are they just blown away by everything that happens here and just by the farm itself? When you drive in, you get a cross between West Palm Beach and Ocala. The big trees, also a bit of tropical, beautifully manicured. The show arena for jumping over here, just the color of the trees, just the beauty, calm and tranquility. People must just love just to come here and take the farm tour before the farm tour begins, right?
They do, so the owner of our farm here, Kimberden, is Kim Burnett. And a really fun fact I like to tell people is that when she bought this property 20 years ago, there wasn't a hedge, a bush, a palm tree, nothing but the old oak trees. She's put in the arenas, all the landscape. She's really got such a great eye for those things. And she's always just reinvested back into the farm. And she wants it to feel that way for people. She wants them to feel like they're at a resort and that they enjoy being here, and it's just that it's an inviting place to be.
And then you have boarders as well. So you have horses here boarded and people taking lessons, and then both the Trinity team and the UF team here as well, right?
Yes. So we have a little bit of everything. When Kim first came to Ocala, she was traveling back and forth from Tennessee, from her farm she had up there originally. And she would bring her show clients down here and they would do hits and all kinds of things. And now we're blessed that World Equestrian is literally not even 5 minutes from here. So we do a lot of showing now at WEC as well. And it's just fantastic.
Everything you need right here in the horse world is right at Kimberden. I can't believe we've got to spend our afternoon in such a beautiful place. Kimie, thanks for being with us. Thanks for taking our people out on some rides today. Horse Country Carriage Company, Kimie Carp here at Kimberden. Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Palm Chevrolet, and our broadcast and television sponsor, Larson Hay. And also to our supporting sponsors, Equisafe, Nirvana Medical Spa, Showcase Properties of Central Florida, the Equine Performance and Innovative Center, and Summit Joint Performance. World-class equine rehab promoting faster recovery is available at the Equine Performance Center Ocala. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, an underwater treadmill, a saltwater spa, an aquapacer, MagnaWave, a vibration plate, swimming pool, massage and laser therapies. With post-surgical care, memberships, packages and BOGOs. EPC delivers a rejuvenated horse through proven and innovative rehab. Like Equine Performance Center now on Facebook and find them on the web at epcrehab.com.
Hi, I'm Alan Davies with Equine Therapy International. Today we're at Engineered Equine Performance celebrating the new saltwater chilled treadmill. This particular chilled equine saltwater treadmill is a game changer. As you can see, the finest materials are used. The filtration system, coarse, fine filtration, no chemicals. We use UV, ozone, combination of filtration to keep the highest water chemistry standards. Being a saltwater unit, only the finest stainless steel and materials are used. That's important when it comes to longevity and cost of service over the life of the unit. This unit also has integrated massage jets with fine bubbles and coarse air bubbles for the therapy. The control system on this is Siemens industrial grade, top of the line technology, straight from Germany, but also serviceable here in the US.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, dedicated to bringing their customers the largest selection of quality horse supplements, products, and farrier supplies in Florida at affordable prices. Also online at ttdistributors.com.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
I'm Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show here at the training centre of Nick and Jackie de Meric. They've just had a incredible win recently in the Breeders' Cup Classic with Nick's Go. I've got a new friend here, and we've kind of shared with you a little bit some of what Jackie does in the beginning part of starting these horses under saddle with the riders. And the next stage is actually when Nick takes over and they come to the track and they start their training here. I love Nick and Jackie's methods with the horses, and I think that the way that their horses turn out at the end of training when they go onto the track, and their success, and even their success beyond the track as OTTBs, is really just shows what an incredible job they do, because I think it gives these horses a better chance on the track and a much better chance beyond. So I'm going to have Nick share with us a little bit about what the next stage is after Jackie's done starting them under saddle. Nick, thanks for being with us again. You're way up there, but I love it.
I'm way up here. I'm 16.5 up here. Okay. Yeah. So, the next phase in the process is usually when Jackie gets them over to me, there are jogging patterns in the field or just about to begin doing that. And we spend quite a bit of time in the field before they ever see a racetrack. We like them to be able to jog figure eights, pick up the right diagonals, pick up the right lead when you ask them. And I've got a big field which I dedicate to that purpose. In fact, I've resisted the temptation to fence that field, because I know once I put a fence around it, it'll be full of herbivores. So I've never fenced it, and we keep that dedicated for riding. And in fact, my son Tris and his wife Valerie make good use of it as well. So there are times when we might have 20 babies out there jogging patterns, which is quite a sight to behold on a foggy morning when the sun's coming up. So we spend quite a bit of time doing that, and also we incorporate little trail rides into the mix. We ride them through the woods, we step walk them over poles, we do a few little things that not exactly dressage moves, but things that just maybe broaden the base of their education a little bit before they ever see a racetrack. And then
now, on that note, don't you think that actually gives them a little bit of a start even for the future beyond the track, because they've seen, it's sort of like the Heath in Newmarket, getting them out to do things other than just the track and just the round pen. I think that really gives them a better education.
Well, we feel that, and I think I'm going backwards for some reason. Come on up here, buddy.
He wants me to interview him.
Yeah. Because these horses are going to spend a lot of their time at American racetracks turning left, and they'll be turning left in the shed row, they'll be turning left in the stall. Some of them, when they start, they'll be turning left on the track. So we feel like they need to have an idea of what the wider world is like before they ever get to a racetrack. And I think that when they're done with their racetrack careers, they switch back to normality much quicker and much more thoroughly than they might do if they'd never had any of that. That's just our theory. And I think also we're very tuned into the mental health of these youngsters, and keeping them happy and engaged and enjoying what they do is really important, I think. And all of our babies get time outside. We're big believers in turnout for as long and as much as we can. And I think that the trail rides and the field work and all of that ties in with their mental well-being as well. And I think that makes the next stage go better and more productively and more efficiently. So after that process, after they're ready to graduate, they start coming up here to the racetrack. This is a 3/4 mile dirt racetrack, a la American racing, and it's a very good surface. We've had a lot of good horses come off this track, not just our own, but other people's. We've had Kentucky Derby winners and multiple Grade 1 winners and Breeders' Cup winners more recently come off this track. So what they do when they get here for the first time is we let them have a good look at everything. We jog around, we let them see it jog one direction, then the next day we'll jog the other direction, give them a sort of perspective from both angles, so to speak. And then little by little in small increments, I start them doing little gallops. And usually what I do initially is I do what I call a split gallop, where I'll let them, and I'm using the word gallop, but
he's practicing his backing up technique.
He never does it when I want him to. But I'm using the word gallop, but truthfully, I mean, canter would be more accurate at this stage. They're just loping, cantering. And what I'll do is I'll let them gallop or canter 3/16 of a mile, pull up, we'll jog them a 3/16 of a mile, then let them canter another 3/16 of a mile. That way they have a little mental reset. They don't get too on the muscle too early. They don't get too forward in there thinking they've got it figured out and that now we're in competition. I like them to just come back to themselves, come back under their riders, and I like the riders to be engaged with their horses, and I encourage them to form relationships with them. That's why I don't chop and change my set lists all the time unless I see a need to make a change, because as I say, I like the riders to develop a rapport with the horses they're riding if possible. And we're very blessed. We have good riders who are tuned into the way we think on that. So gradually I'll start to increase their gallops, not so much, not the speed, but the distance. And I'll gradually shrink that jog in the middle until we eliminate it. Then they'll be doing a continuous gallop. And at a little further down the process, I start them 2 or 3 days a week galloping solo, singly. Usually, actually, to be honest, 2 days a week. And the other rest of the time, they'll be galloping in company. And that means either galloping head and head with another horse, or very often with 2 other horses. So we'll have one in the middle and we'll alternate who goes in the middle. So they get, from early on, they get used to the idea of being bumped and being close proximity of other animals or other horses, so that it's not a big transition. Again, when they're in a racetrack environment or loading in a starting gate and they're surrounded by other horses, they've been used to that from very early on. So that's an important part of their development. And then little by little, we'll start to increase those gallops, increase the distance. And at this point, we're as much educating them as what we do call putting a bottom in them or a foundation in them, or legging them up. And this is an important part of the process before they start doing anything more serious in their galloping. They need that foundation. They need the musculature. They need their tendons and ligaments to be acclimated to loping on a dirt racetrack, and all of that takes time, and it takes slow repetition, and little by little we're asking for a little more, but we're also asking for a little better. So we're trying to get them to switch leads as they enter the turn, switch back when they come out of a turn, to go comfortably head and head, eyeball to eyeball, stirrup to stirrup when they're in sets in company, and be focused and independent when they're galloping by themselves. The horses that go to 2-year-old sales, and quite a few of ours do go to 2-year-old sales, will by definition breeze solo, because that's the way the 2-year-old process has evolved. And so it's important that they have that independence and they're not too herd bound and dependent on their peers for company and security. So they need to have that independence. And
hold that thought, Nick.
Yeah.
We got a break. We're at that point, but we're going to come back with Nick with the rest. Stay with us on the Horse Talk Show. As we say in merry old England, we hope you have a very happy Christmas. And whether you're in Ocala, Marion County, the horse capital of the world, or not, happy horsing around until the same time next week for a special call-in show you'll enjoy.